Hi guys, George here with Brighton Fan TV. I thought we'd just go through some of the headlines this week, particularly affecting Brighton. The main one being Glenn Murray did a piece for the BBC about the Premier League being, the hype of the Premier League means that domestic talent's getting missed. And I understand what he means. Glenn's using himself as an example, that if he hadn't been working his way into the Premier League, he wouldn't have been picked up. And there's no doubt that Glenn Murray's Premier League level. I know some people would debate that, but I'd say he is Premier League level, no argument about it. And I understand where he's coming from. I do understand where he's coming from. That I think out of the total spent in the Premier League transfer window just gone was 1.2 billion, and of that 880 million was spent on foreign players, which is huge when you think about it. That's difficult to comprehend. But I just countering some of Glenn's points, I thought that the English talent that we do have in those lower leagues is being vastly overrated. I'm going to put my neck on the line and say last season Jack Grealish had a good season at Villa, a good season. Villa have now slapped a 30 million price tag on him, and Spurs were looking at paying that. Now, I'd say that's probably a barrier to English talent getting in the Premier League. I think 30 million is a gross overrating of Grealish. If he'd been valued at, let's say, 10 million, which I'd say is generous, 10, 12 million, would he have gone up to Spurs? Maybe. Is that British talent breaking into the Premier League? Yes. Some of those players in the Championship, you have to have an adjustment to the Premier League. And I think we saw that with our own players last season. I think you can tell that Glenn Murray's Premier League season, he knew exactly what the game was when he was coming up. But on the flip side, I also get why you wouldn't want your team buying foreign players. Although the foreign players are cheaper in some circumstances. I mean, if you've got the choice between paying 30 million for Jack Grealish or a couple of minutes, I mean, Gross is a perfect example coming from relegated Ingolstadt. I mean, it's pros and cons. But I don't think that's to the fault of the English players. I think that's down to agents and an overinflated transfer market. Also, I understand why you'd want English talent in the Premier League. I mean, you want to show off your league as the best in the world. You want your talent being developed in the best league in the world. For fans as well, I think it's nice seeing this talent. I'm thinking back to a debate we had on Red Devil Weekly last week. A lot of United fans rang into their radio podcast and were unhappy that Valencia was team captain because he didn't speak English. And as fans, they didn't like the fact that they couldn't communicate with their captain at press conferences, at open training days. Valencia just didn't speak English. And understand that no matter how good a player you are, that if you're a fan, that can be alienating. I mean, it'd be like not being able to talk to Lewis Dunk, or Lewis Dunk having to have a translator every time he tries to communicate something to us as fans. I don't think it's the be all and end all, but I'd say it's important. I think the other headline that grabbed my attention this week that sort of links into this was the costly mistake of Everton letting go of Shane Duffy, and this was in a HITC article, how Everton sold Duffy for 1.5 million to Blackburn, only for us to pick him up in 2016 for 4.5 mil, which when you think about Grealish being rated at 30 million, there's a big disconnect there. And Duffy played absolutely out of his skin, beating Man United at the weekend. Now that was a great bit of transfer business. Did we, essentially through linear, did we rob Everton of Duffy? Yeah, we did. I'd say, yeah, we did. Blackburn made a great bit of business in the middle, but yeah, from 1.5 million, 4 million to beating Man United in the Premier League, I'd say they missed out big time, especially with the defensive problems that Everton had and the fact that they were desperate in the transfer window. I mean, Mina, I think they paid somewhere between 25 and 30 mil for Mina, including fees. If they'd held on to Duffy, would he be the defender he was today? You can argue it out. I mean, you could debate that. Has the nurturing of Brighton, that progression from Championship to Premier League, has that helped? I'd say yes. Would Everton take Duffy now at 26 for 4 mil? I'd say they probably would. and I guess that really highlights Murray's point, doesn't it? Of, is English talent getting let go and missed? Is it that nurturing that we don't have anymore? It's one that's open for debate. It's something we'd be interested to hear your opinions on. If you've got an opinion on it, feel free to leave a comment down below. We really appreciate any likes or shares at the moment, as the channel's slowly growing. Slowly but surely we've noticed that we're starting to grow a bit more, a little bit more exposure, and we really do appreciate all the help we get. This has been George for Brighton Fan TV, and we'll see you soon.